I just want to share a quick story about solo traveling and how it has changed my perspective a little bit. And I know a lot of people are scared of solo travel because, especially as a female, sometimes you feel quite unsafe, and just traveling solo has a lot of implications because you're basically doing everything yourself. So you're navigating the country yourself, you're like if you don't speak the language, then yeah, it can be really scary. And I haven't had too much experience solo traveling, and honestly, last year was my first time, and I went to two countries which I speak the language of, so I was more comfortable. So my first time was in Hong Kong, and the second time was in China. So both countries I can speak the language, so it wasn't too much of a barrier, and I intentionally chose those two places because I knew it wasn't too big of a step, and it's kind of like a baby step for me. And so what happened was when I was in China, I was hiking up. I spent I think 4 days hiking up, just walking around Zhangjiajie, like one of the national parks, and it was really beautiful. It was like I think one of the scenery is where Avatar was filmed, and one day, because the scenery is so dependent on the weather condition and the fog, and so one day I went up. I was hiking up one of the mountains, and it was really heavy fog when I started. And on the way up, everyone that was coming down was just kind of saying, "Oh, don't go up," and "Oh, it sucks. You can't see anything. Everything is just so foggy." And literally, like when it's foggy, you literally just see all white. Like there's actually no point. But I was just thinking to myself, oh, I'm already here. Like, what else am I gonna do other than hike up this mountain? Because I'm literally in the middle of the mountain, and I can't really just like order a DD and just go out. So I was like, you know what? It's okay. Like, I know everyone's saying that there's nothing to see up at the top, but I'm just gonna go anyway because, yeah, I'm already here. Like, what do I have to lose, right? And so I just kept hiking and hiking. I think overall I spent probably an hour or so like hiking up the mountain. And like the hike was pretty, I wouldn't say it's like very challenging, but it was like a lot of steps and stuff. So it wasn't the easiest thing to do. And it is harder when there is no reward at the end. And so yeah, I just hiked up because I was curious to see what's at the top really. And I just kept hiking and hiking. And basically, I got to the top of the mountain. And just before I walked across a bridge and basically go up to the lookout, I just suddenly heard like everyone saying, wow. And I was like, oh, what's happening? And I just looked around, and the fog started clearing just as I reached the peak. And in that moment, I just kind of stopped everything, and I just stood there. I just stood there in front of the bridge, and I just stared at the mountain because it was beautiful. It was like you're on top of the cloud, and you're just staring at these like pillar looking mountains. I don't know how to describe it. Yeah, but it's basically if you imagine Avatar, those like pillar mountains. Yeah, so it was just looking at the cloud, just like not the cloud, the fog, just like parting, and you just you just absorb the scenery, and it's kind of like an unexpected reward at the end. And I think what's so magical about that experience and why it stuck in my head is that it taught me that throughout that journey of hiking up a mountain, you're gonna be faced with so many challenges, and people are gonna tell you that, I mean, that it's not worth it. People are gonna tell you it's not worth it. Why would you even do all this work for nothing? Really, you go up to the top, you see nothing, and at that point, it is up to you to decide if you want to turn back and listen to those people's experience and not experience it for yourself, or you take the risk and you just hike up the mountain anyway, despite of what people have been telling you, because you wanted to, and you're curious, and you just want to see with your own eyes, and just experience it with your own eyes, even though all you can see is a white patch of fog. And I think that that is a really important lesson in life in general, that yeah, everyone has their own experience, and whatever people are telling you and giving you advice about, you have to take it with a grain of salt, even if they say it with good intentions, because at the end of the day, you are living your life. You are the one that is living your life, and so you have to be okay with the decisions that you make, and the fact that if you just keep taking other people's advice without actually doing things yourself to actually see it for yourself, and experience the good and the bad anyways, then I think like life won't be as full and as fulfilling as it could be, because I think life is just made out of all these experiences, and how this also relates to solo traveling is because I can imagine if I was hiking up the mountain with my family or my friends, then like obviously you can't just, it's not just one person's decisions, it's everyone's decision. And so what solo traveling allows you to do is that it allows you to really kind of focus on your own thoughts and really understand what you would do in certain situations. And also it will teach you, because you have no one to blame if whatever choice you make is yours. So whether the outcome is good or bad, you have no one to blame, or not even blame. You have no one to either just attribute that action to. If it's good, then you praise yourself for it. If it's bad, then you're like, oh, okay, like I made the choice, so I sit with it. And I think that is actually a really important kind of lesson to learn and to go through, because yeah, if you are so kind of reliant on just always having someone else there to make a decision for you, then yeah, you never really form the self identity in that sense. You don't never really understand yourself, and what your preferences are, and how you respond to certain situations, because traveling alone can be really stressful sometimes, because yeah, usually you're navigating a place you've never been, and so there's a lot of things like how to get on the train, how to get from the airport to the city, and yeah, there's so many things that you have to think about, and so it is a part of growth. It is kind of like an accelerated kind of boot camp growth in that sense, in the terms of yeah, you handle everything yourself, and you learn pretty quickly like who you are, and how you do things in life. And when you go back to your normal life, to work and stuff, then you will understand more about, well, one, about other cultures, and also about yourself and your interests and what actually makes you feel alive. And yeah, I think that's kind of the story I want to share today about solo traveling, and the perspective I've gained from that one little moment that really stuck with me, and I keep, sometimes I go back to it to remind myself that the journey might be really hard, but sometimes you just gotta see it for yourself, and take all the advice and criticisms and everything, and extract the important parts of it and set expectations as well from that. But also you have to see it for yourself and not just take someone's word for it. So yeah, this is day 10 of me yapping to the camera. Bye.